Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novogratz say we have bottomed out, Novogratz is bullish. Bottomed out, don't ever rises bearish.
Bearish target 13 puncher.
Novogratz is bullish.
Bitcoin could be at 40,000.
Let us go to moon.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So it's Friday, it's the weekend, we made it. Congratulations. So sorry, that song is probably going to be stuck in your head for the rest of the day. If you're wondering why I was playing that in the beginning of the video, I'm actually going to get to that in just a minute. But first, let's have a look at what's going on super quick. Bitcoin is doing quite well. Some altcoins are doing all right, and we know the rest of them are still suffering today. So, having a look at what's going on, we have Bitcoin sitting around 6,376, Ethereum 207, XRP 46 cents, Bitcoin Cash $560. Are you guys, do you already feel what's up right here? Okay, no, I'm just kidding. This is actually a historical snapshot from November 4th, which was 2 days before the Bitcoin Please Go to Moon song came out. So you know what, guys? I think we have it all wrong. I think we're looking at the wrong charts, the wrong technicals. What we really need to be looking at is why did Bitcoin Please Go to Moon come out right here, and then several days later, we plummeted? Conspiracy? You let me know what you think. But in all sincerity, it is actually at basically the critical level right here, where if you see where the visible range is, that's what we're really trying to break out of, this sort of $6,400 level. I just thought it was a crazy coincidence that that song and the level we're trying to break kind of, yeah. So anyway, having fun on a Friday. Also, friendly reminder to everyone out there that's been asking me, I got this from Ledger Nano X. They said the first batch of Ledger Nano X's Genesis editions are finally getting shipped on May 15th. The rest of the pre-orders will be shipped the week of the 20th. And then they said it'll be generally available to everyone on the 27th. So good news. Also, I forgot to pull it up on the screen today, but friendly reminder, if you guys are going to go to Consensus and you want $100 off your ticket, I do have a link below. All right. So getting back to the actual chart, but you can see look how similar these numbers are. They're very close. XRP is a little bit lower, Litecoin's a little higher, but let's give this a quick refresh and see where we're at. The market's lost $1 billion, but Bitcoin is up almost 4%. Wow, crazy, guys. Ethereum's actually doing quite well today too. Bitcoin dominance 58%. We have an all-time high Bitcoin dominance for 2019. Volume 56 billion weekend. You know, we might see it drop off over the weekend. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We do have some gainers today, though. We have True Chain up 24%. Basic Attention. See, that was one of those, when we were talking about altcoins that I think are going to have longevity, Basic Attention, personally, I think will have a lot of utility. Redcoin is up as well. Next, Aurora, Metaverse, Engine, Stratus, and Chainlink, all doing quite well today. Also, Matic Network is up 11%, so that's good. If you guys didn't have a chance to check out the interview that we did, it was really awesome. I had a great time last night. Also, Doge token just got listed on CoinMarketCap. I know somebody's excited for Doget. You gotta be kidding me. These are why people call them shitcoins, okay? Just gotta point it out. So, having a look at what's going on, it's sort of difficult to really analyze what's even happening with these charts because we're sort of just waiting to break through that $6,400 level. If we don't, then we're probably just going to fall back down to some of these previous resistance / supports, right? So we may actually end up sitting on top of this trend line. You know, this trend line could potentially become the floor. So, you know, if anything, we may drop down to around 5,900, but we have so many different areas of support here, and we've been holding up quite well. So realistically speaking, there's no reason to be short-term bearish on Bitcoin, with the exception of a few things I can think of that come to mind. One, just simply being the fact that people want to take profits, right? The second thing is that we don't know what's going to happen when Binance eventually does reopen their exchange. Right now, there's trading happening in a sort of contained environment. So that's sort of throwing a wrench in the gears of the crypto ecosystem right now, right? And then the other thing too is the ongoing Tether situation. So we are seeing a lot of people potentially exiting Tether, buying Bitcoin, pushing the price up. So we do have some variables that we need to keep our eyes on, okay? But obviously pulling out, as we can see right here, this Bitcoin please go to moon song. Let me get that out of there. But yeah, so we did have this really major resistance at 6,420 roughly. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we're keeping our eyes on in the short term moving forward. As far as the altcoins go, yesterday we were talking about, is there a potential chance for the altcoins to have another altcoin or, alt season? Well, here's the thing. We had a tremendous alt season. You cannot deny those gains. We were seeing coins 3xing, 4xing, 5xing, right? So now that we're seeing some of them pull back 30, 40, even 50%, this is to be expected after something that crazy. I mean, don't forget, in traditional markets, most people are just excited to get like 10%. You know what I mean? So that's something to point out. Also notice that we are sort of forming, a wedge, and we're getting closer to the end. So, potentially somewhere maybe out here, we might have a blast off. But the thing to consider is that you really don't get those alt seasons unless Bitcoin is sort of going sideways. It's not going sideways right now. Clearly, Bitcoin is, it's leading the markets right now. So there's really no incentive for altcoins to do much until Bitcoin takes a chill pill and just relaxes a little bit, right? But I wanted to talk about something crazy. When we were mentioning Philb's chart, when we were talking about the halvening, if you notice right here, he actually extended it out. And basically what he did is he took this right here, like he copied it and he pasted it right here, assuming that we did the exact same thing. Now we know that history doesn't tend to, repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Well, the interesting thing is if we actually click the play and let it ride out, you'll see that we are way ahead of Philb's prediction looking at the year leading up to the halvening. Now, we were calling it on the channel for quite some time. We knew that May was going to be a good month. We knew this because it was that psychological year leading up to the halvening, and we've had very good statistics from the past to show why we should be excited for this, right? And going right here, you can see we are way above it. In fact, he hadn't thought that we would be this high until way out here, almost halfway towards next point. So we are performing much better than we thought. Now, due to the fact that obviously I don't have much to go off of, that I'm not a professional, TA analyst, but some people are saying that you could look at wave analysis. I'm just pointing this out because it's always nice to look at the alternatives, right? So this is according to Bitcoin News, and they were saying, we think that the third wave of growth, which would end no higher than 7,100, continues to be formed. But before that, we expect a price fall of $2,200, and only after buyers are able to keep this price will be a high profitability of a $7,100 test. So you can sort of see what they're predicting here. They're sort of saying we sort of jump up and down. We don't really have any more crazy blast offs. And then we sort of retest down to some of these lower lows, potentially even down to around 4,200. Is that a possibility? I'm not going to rule that out. Nobody really knows right now. We've definitely had a pretty insane month. As I did point out earlier, they do mention, the Tether situation sort of propping up Bitcoin at the moment. So we don't know how that's going to end, but we do know that currently, short term at least, it may be helping the price of Bitcoin, right? And this is outside of all the crazy speculations and rumors and stuff we were talking about. But nevertheless, we still have Bitcoin price. Mark Yusko's 400,000 target is bold but not insane. We've spoke about this if Bitcoin was to reach the price of gold. Now, Mark Yusko, in case you guys aren't familiar with him, he is co-founder, or I think Morgan Anthony Pompliano and him are both over there at Morgan Creek, but I wanted to play this that came out actually in October of last year, just to give you a little bit of an introduction into who this guy is. And then I wanted to sort of talk about why he still sees Bitcoin easily becoming a $400,000 Bitcoin.
Real quick, cryptocurrency, you like it?
Love it, yeah. I'm wearing my crypto tie today. Look, we think that the equity markets are the beginnings of a bear market. We think the crypto market's the beginning of a bull market. And look, I'm a big believer that sound money, right, what non-fiat currency, since 71, currencies all around the world have started to explode. Look what happened in Zimbabwe, Venezuela. Yeah. And when you issue too much debt and the government can't support that debt, currencies have to devalue.
And Fidelity is going to store and trade digital currencies for hedge funds.
Huge. That is a huge development. Yeah. And what it says is that the great wall of money, the institutional investors are coming for this asset. And it is the first alternative asset, really in my career, that delivers on the promise. It actually gives you better returns.
Or something else?
Love Bitcoin. We think that is digital gold. Ultimately, may be a reserve.
So I don't think we need to play any more of this interview. You can definitely see he's very, very bullish on Bitcoin and the space in general. I do like how he refers to it as hard money. Now, what he says down here is that, and this is a good point, and he's talking about the hack. He's talking about Binance getting hacked or just any hack in general. He says people don't steal things that don't have value. The fact that hackers are going to all this work to try and steal things like Bitcoin, I think confirms that this has value. I also think it points to a couple of other really good things for the ecosystem, like the need for insurance. And he actually said he thinks it's cool that Binance has their Seifu fund. He says it's good to see the ecosystem is resilient. I mean, basically nothing was even affected by it price-wise. The altcoins were, Bitcoin wasn't. He says that the ecosystem can deal with these types of things. And if you think back over time, the fact that banks get robbed all the time and people lose their wallets or have their purses stolen doesn't mean that we should stop using money, right? That's a good point. Like if that store got robbed, so does that mean money's bad, right? This exchange got hacked. Does that mean Bitcoin's bad? No, it means they have terrible security and need to fix it, right? So he also says that gold has been hard money for 5,000 years. It's about $7.4 trillion in value. The best thing about Bitcoin is it's digital gold. It's much easier to transport. It's much easier to divide. We know this already. And basically he says if you take 7.4 trillion, divide that by 21 million, you get around 400,000 per coin. He says maybe we could even reach $500,000 per coin, and he could see that happening within the next decade. But I know, guys, this is the big story of the day. Brad Sherman. Now, this is not the first time we've had this dude on the channel before. He's not very friendly to cryptocurrencies. Last year, he was calling them a crock and all this other stuff. So if you guys haven't had a chance to see this, it's had 381,000 views. I assume you've seen this already. If you haven't, I'm going to play it real quick. If you've seen it, just skip right on to the next because we got some interesting things to talk about.
I look for colleagues to join with me in introducing a bill to outlaw cryptocurrency purchases by Americans so that we nip this in the bud, in part because not an awful lot of our international power comes from the fact that the dollar is the standard unit of international finance and transactions. Clearing through the New York Fed is critical for major oil and other transactions. And it is the announced purpose of the supporters of cryptocurrency to take that power away from us, to put us in a position where the most significant sanctions we have on Iran, for example, would become irrelevant. So whether it is to disempower our foreign policy, our tax collection enforcement, or our traditional law enforcement, the purposes of cryptocurrency, the advantage it has over sovereign currency is solely to aid in the disempowerment of the United States and the rule of law.
Is it just me or does the guy sound a little bit scared? Right? And what's interesting is he says that the advantage that it has over the sovereign money is that it has the ability to circumvent these sanctions, right? Isn't that the whole point behind Bitcoin? Isn't the whole idea behind Bitcoin that it is censorship resistant and it has no borders? And you have to think about it. When you have a guy coming out saying something like this, to me, it actually just validates even more why I want to own some Bitcoin. So oddly enough, something like this that should technically be coming out and scaring everybody, I'm a US citizen, but realistically, this just solidifies the whole theory all along, the whole purpose, right? And I'm sure you guys know this by now, but if you had a chance to come over here and look at his campaign committee fundraising, you do notice some of the people that have been contributing. You have Royal Business Bank, Capital Group companies, Northrop Grumman, Allied Wallet, UBS AG, right? And if you break them down, you could see these are all people that are heavily, heavily threatened by cryptocurrencies, clearly. Credit Union National is the biggest credit union lobby. Garwal, Chan, and Williams' website says they provide wealth management services to high net worth clients. Capital Group Company says they serve individuals, investors, financial intermediaries, and institutions around the world. And then Allied Wallet is a provider of e-commerce wallet and services. And you can see right here, smarter credit card processing and merchant services, which clearly cryptocurrencies would be a threat to. But not to mention it, it's interesting that one of the people that are funding this guy who's against cryptocurrencies, actually back in August 18th of 2010, it says, let me read this to you. It says, two payment processors, Allied Wallet and Allied Systems Incorporated, and their owner have entered into a settlement agreement requiring them to forfeit $13.3 million to resolve a civil forfeiture claim alleging that funds were property involving money laundering. This wasn't done with Bitcoin. This was done with dollars, my friends. The civil forfeiture complaint filed in Manhattan federal court also alleges that the funds were traceable to proceeds of the operation of an illegal gambling business and traceable property used to operate an illegal gambling business. I think I just read that twice, and I think they just printed it twice. But anyway, long story short, that is the kind of funding that this man over here is getting. So... I mean, it's comical after a while. It's almost just comical, you know, when you really just look at it. And yeah, anyway, you know, when you really think about what is going to happen, right? When they try to ban things, what does it do? It basically just allows them to move to other places, right? You've just seen, especially crypto companies, that they've found some difficulty setting up in the US. They've moved to other places that have been more friendly. They've moved to Switzerland, or they've moved to Malta, or, you know, these other places. And really what's going to happen is the United States is going to end up falling behind on these innovations by doing things like this, right? And you can see right here, this is from Blocktown Capital. They look at the world's richest billionaires, and they were just curious what they'd be worth if Bitcoin ever hit $1 million. But that's not really what I want to look at. You can see right here, Satoshi Nakamoto, and then the next is the Bulgaria government with 213,519 Bitcoins, followed by Winklevoss, Roger Ver, Barrel, Anthony Jalippi, Tim Draper, Charlie Shrem, and then the US government, or at least that's what they're telling us, followed by Mike Novogratz, and then the Israeli government as well. So you're already seeing Bulgaria is definitely, they're setting themselves up for that situation. And, you know, Anthony Pompliano says, my guess is that at least one large government has already bought a significant amount of Bitcoin. Eventually, they will all follow, right? So I do want to talk about this because this is something that is worth bringing up. How governments could actually kill Bitcoin. Is this possible? I think it's a great question. I think we should go over this today. So this came out from Kyle Torpy, and it was based on an episode of the Stephen Levera podcast, featured an interview with economist, and I'm probably going to say this dude's name wrong, but it's Saifedean Amos, I don't know. But anyway, he's best known as the author of the Bitcoin Standard, the decentralized alternative to central banking. And I want you to hear what this guy said. He said, people think that if a government were to pass a law that bans Bitcoin, then Bitcoin goes away and then they get to laugh at us and that's the end of the story. He said, actually, it's the other way around. A ban on Bitcoin would illustrate two things. Number one, Bitcoin must be useful if people are willing to risk jail time in order to obtain it. That's an interesting standpoint, right? Number two, it makes it clear that government is restricting people's financial freedoms. Bitcoin's use case is moving money around the world without having to report to your government. And so the more governments create restrictions like this, the more problems they create and the worse their monetary policy is. So if your bank tells you you can't buy Bitcoin with your bank account, that's really just an advertisement for Bitcoin. You see what he's saying? So he says the way for them to kill Bitcoin is for them to actually make an economic incentive to render Bitcoin irrelevant, to make the demand for using Bitcoin go away. Show us something better. Show us a reason to not want to hold this deflationary currency. If you had that kind of monetary system, he says, and if you had it worldwide, then it would seriously undermine the demand for Bitcoin. In fact, check out what he says at the very end. He went as far to say that there may not have even been much a demand for Bitcoin as an innovation in the first place had we not actually gone off the gold standard, right? Don't forget, in the USA, we've been taken off the gold standard since 1970. I don't remember the exact year. It's either 71 or 73, but it was in the 70s, and it was during the Nixon era. And currently, our system is based on trust, right? If I give you $1, it's not backed by anything. We just trust that it's $1. That's really it. Well, that's not how Bitcoin works. Bitcoin says, don't trust. Verify. And that alone is what separates it. And you've even seen Hester Pierce coming out, crypto mom, and she has issues with this as well. For example, she noted that the agency's Jackson Pollock approach, referring to the SEC, of splashing lots of factor on the canvas without any clear message leaves something to be desired. She says we should not be trying to guide innovation, but we also should recognize that we cannot stop it. And we need to embrace the potential for positive change. Pretty much what she's saying is the same thing I was just trying to say before. You know, I mean, the title sums it up the best. Basically, crypto industry hindered by regulatory delays or by outright trying to ban it, right? And let's be real here. Let's just be honest, okay? I'm sure you guys have seen this sort of meme card before, but the war on drugs brought more drugs, right? The war on terror brought more terror. Now, this is a joke. It says maybe we can have a war on money and jobs and see where that goes. But I mean, look at what happens when we tend to ban these things. What happens? It actually tends to increase the demand for them. I mean, basically, like, here's something funny. Look at what China has pretty much banned, right? Basically, all the FANG stocks, right? China, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, all that stuff, right? Well, the hilarious thing about it is that those were basically the best performing tech stocks and the ones you would have wanted to actually invest in and use, but they were the ones that they were banning. Crazy scenario, right? I'm just trying to make some connections here. But, you know, I think that if you tried to have a war on Bitcoin or you tried to ban Bitcoin, you would only increase the value because the demand would be so much harder because now it would be more difficult to obtain and you would definitely see higher premiums on the coin. So yeah, go ahead, ban it. Have fun, guys. You're only going to drive the price up. This thing is unkillable. It is unstoppable, okay? Not to say that maybe one day we can't have another cryptocurrency replace it. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to be number one forever, but currently right now, it's the best option, okay? And in my opinion, it still has a long way to go before we see Bitcoin getting displaced or being, affected by any of these guys trying to ban it, okay? That's my opinion on it, but realistically, could they do it? Yes, they could do it, but they would need to create something that's better than Bitcoin. And currently, the system that we have right now with 2 to 3% annual inflation, not really working. So anyway, getting back on topic of Bitcoin, just wanted to let you guys give you a quick update on what's going on with the Binance hack. So it says that they have noticed that some coins are being moved to 7 new addresses. And if you want to follow them, it's AMLT Token and Network. They were the ones that were posting up on this, and they showed basically what it's doing. So as you can see right here, essentially, Amy Castor says Money Laundering 101, breaking the transaction up into smaller and smaller amounts makes it more difficult to track. So if this is to be confirmed that they are moving it around, then the whole theory about the SegWit addresses has to get thrown out the window because obviously if they're moving it, that's not the situation. But that still doesn't solve what happened. It just eliminates one possible answer, right? But we will keep our eyes on that moving forward. Now, before we go, it wouldn't be a crypto episode without the real Satoshi Nakamoto, Craig Wright. Clearly, because we all know this, right? So, a filing, I hope you guys know I'm kidding, right? A filing showing the list of addresses that were supposed to prove that Craig Wright was in fact Satoshi Nakamoto has been unsealed. Deeper inspection of the list, however, showed that the blocks that he claimed to have mined are merely a lazy copy-paste from the blockchain. Researchers from WiseSec Security Fraud found that out. Got him! Got him! So upon further review of Wright's unsealed documents, WiseSec's Kim Nilsson found that Wright just scraped the blockchain for easy block reward beneficiaries and claimed those as his own addresses. The list of the first 70 block reward addresses, not including the Genesis block, line up perfectly with the redacted list Wright filed to the court. So looks like they finally found Craig Wright's keyboard. Okay, all right, but Mark Lundberg actually pointed out Craig's filing of addresses included block 64, which is apparently a block that was definitely not mined using the same software as Satoshi's blocks. So he goes, why? Presumably he just grabbed the list of first unspent blocks, expecting block 9, the list cut off crudely at 70 since block 78 was spent, but block 64 is special too. Oopsie. You would think Satoshi would know these things, but oh, you know how it goes. Entertaining times. Oh, we have a message though from William Shatner. Kryptonians, My friend Vitalik Buterin and Elon Musk were trying to decide what to build on Ethereum. I've been waiting and finally decided to do something myself. Join me at Blockchain Week. So that's right, William Shatner is going to be at Blockchain Week. I'm a Star Trek fan. I don't know if you guys know that. I'm a Star Wars fan as well. Actually, I'm a movie and I like sci-fi. I like movies and stuff, but I definitely place in my heart for Star Trek. I'd love to get a picture with this guy. But anyway, check out his thing he's got here.
Today, I'm announcing that I am partnering with Materium and other technology creators to establish an authentication system. It provides an irrefutable, internationally recognized proof of authenticity.
A chip, a token, my signature, and a number. One of a kind.
So there you have it. William Shatner will be at Blockchain Week in New York. I'm excited, and we will get a little display of Materium. So check that out. Now, one other thing kind of serious I wanted to talk about before we go. So you can see Emin posted that the SEC issued new guidelines for money transmitters using cryptocurrencies. By the way, if you guys want, I'll drop the whole thing from FinCen below. This is the official thing that came out. But he says, too long to read. Essentially, he says to his non-lawyer eyes, it looks like mostly bad news. Running a Lightning node requires a money transmission license. Oddly, providers of anonymity services are exempt. DEX operators, but not necessarily developers, are money transmitters. So this is an interesting thing. We're going to have to keep an eye on this. So I guess basically now if you wanted to run a Lightning node, you technically require a money transmission license? Getting interesting, guys. We'll keep our eyes on that moving forward, but I do want to end on some good news today. It is Friday. Earlier this year, Abra launched its non-custodial Bitcoin-backed global investment app to democratize investing in stocks, bonds, EFTs, and cryptocurrencies. Now it's stepping up a gear, making it easier for users to move money to and from their banks. So that's a good thing, right? So funny, Brad Sherman's coming out saying this, and then we have stuff like this coming out. So just shows you that, we do have people that are trying to move in the right direction. And some positive news before we go. A new crypto ETF has just been filed with the US SEC. No, nobody cares. All right. How about the fact that Buffett's Berkshire got scammed out of a staggering $340 million by solar Ponzi fraud? I know that's going to make somebody happy out there. But I forgot. Warren Buffett, he knows what he's talking about. This Bitcoin stuff is rat poison, but they're too busy investing their dollars in Ponzi schemes. So that being said, I want to say thank you so much for everybody that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting. Everybody that's been, turning on the bell notification, dropping me comments below. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys found value out of today's video. It is Friday. Go out, enjoy yourself. Try not to refresh the blockchain app all day. Or, your crypto app, checking your Blockfolio. So that's it for me today, guys. Hope you have an awesome weekend. I'll be back tomorrow and probably Sunday because I never take a day off. But that being said, you're freaking awesome. I love you guys. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Thank you so much. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.